Hello and welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few seconds. It's Rod with POW Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We'll give it a few minutes for people to join us. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few moments. Welcome back for another daily market recap. Today is a review for March 18th. And just sit tight as we give it a few more minutes for people to jump on. We'll get started in a little over a minute or so. All right, welcome back everybody on the Pursuit of Wealth. Again, today is Thursday, March 18th. And in this video, we're going to discuss as our primary topic, SPY with a nasty sell-off into the end of the day, losing daily support. So we lost our daily support levels. Now we have key weekly support coming into play. So we've lost the daily uptrend and we could be on the verge of losing the weekly uptrend. So this is going to be a pivotal point in the markets, and Bitcoin's also on the verge of a potential daily downtrend. So we'll take a look at the broader market, some news and events, and we'll look at some individual tickers as well. But before we jump in, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. It shows me some support. So the reason for the fear in the markets today was attributed to the 10-year Treasury yield surging to 14-month high of 1.74% and the 30-year rate topping 2.5%. So you can check that out. Says some Fed statements from the meeting yesterday. Jobless claims show unexpected increase despite relaxed economic restrictions. So we saw a miss in those numbers today. Prior period was 725,000. We were forecasting 700,000. It came in 70 above, so 770, which is more than forecasted and more than the previous reporting period. Also, as a reminder, tomorrow's quadruple witching. So there is the definition. If you don't, I use Investopedia for pretty much everything that I've ever needed to learn is on Investopedia. So I highly encourage you to use that as a resource. So moving on to, and there's going to be a SPY dividend as well. So you might have to use SPXS. If you track SPY, you want to use SPX for the ETF to track, which I'll bring up in just a second. So just taking a look at Bitcoin here, we did lose support and we're in a 15-minute downtrend. We're trying to set a 15-minute uptrend, but we're struggling here, and the whole crypto market seeing a pullback, so nothing being spared at the moment. So again, like I mentioned earlier, we have the possibility of a daily downtrend. So if we fail the all-time high at 61,788, we risk setting a lower high here, and then it's all about the support at 53,221. If we lose that support, we confirm a daily downtrend, and then our next support is down at 46,219, and then weekly support at 43,016. So again, not really that concerned as a market bull, as long as we maintain the uptrends on the weekly. But if we lose the weekly uptrend on Bitcoin and the overall broader market, that could mark the top, at least for now, and we could see some prolonged consolidation. And one thing you need to ask yourself is, what if this is the top? We are approaching previous all-time high monthly resistance monthly RSI levels. So the max levels we've ever seen on the RSI. So we might have a little bit more gas left in the tank, but a higher low for 6 months in a row and a huge move from 3,858. One would think we are going to pull back in a significant way at some point. But again, need to see confirmations of daily downtrends. That will be a point in favor of the bears. And then we need to see weekly uptrend being lost to be very, very concerned and to start going really bearish crypto. So SPY, as the title of the video suggests, lost daily support. We had daily support at 391.20. That was the line in the sand, which was our daily higher low and bull flag. And that was what we considered to be a daily trend change based on this higher low here into a new higher high. That was a little bit of a red flag for me that we lost the low of yesterday after consolidating into daily consolidation, straight into a new all-time high, straight into daily consolidation. That was a red flag for me as soon as we lost the low of yesterday. And bouncing off EMA 12 here, looking to find some support. So if we do lose EMA 12 and break the low of the day tomorrow, we could be heading down to EMA 26 at 388.47. After that, we have a lack of support on the daily down to 371.88. What is 371.88? Ta-da, it is our weekly higher low, and that level must hold to maintain the weekly uptrend. We also have another weekly level here at 368.27 from a few weeks prior, and then EMA 26 to battle with at 368.40. So we've got an interesting day tomorrow. It's quadruple witching. So again, a lot of different derivatives expiring and SPY dividend. So it's going to be interesting. There could be a lot of volatility. I do want to take a look at VIX here, up over 12% today. So looking like some people are taking some insurance going into this quad witching tomorrow. We are forming a bit of an upper wick, but typical VIX fashion, we generally see these just, slow bleeds and nothing happens for a very long time, and then we see a huge move up over 10% double-digit gains. So we'll see if VIX can get some more follow through. We got a lack of resistance here on the daily time frame all the way up to 31.90. I added to my short position, so I'm short SPY, QQQ. I added to SPXS and SQQQ. So hedging my long positions, I sold Hexo today at the open. I had a big position in Hexo, sold for about, I think it was 15 or 20% gain, and that was after loading up in the last few days, in the last few week or so, and just started to scale back in, and also noticed some weakness in the markets and added to those short positions just as a hedge. And this could be, like I said, a defining moment in the markets. And taking a look at the dollar here, the dollar confirmed a daily downtrend, but lack of follow through has us a little skeptical. It could be a weekly bull flag at this point. We're now in a weekly uptrend, so a weekly bull flag is entirely possible. We could bounce off EMA 12 here. And if we were to confirm this bull flag, that means it would be taking us to around 94. And we have a cross of those EMAs lining up as well, so we could see a bull cross there here in the next few weeks. But ultimately held EMA 26 on the daily, so it's going to be important here to see whether or not we break the low. So support at 91.30 is going to be crucial, as that will determine whether or not we see a weekly bull flag or not. So moving on, we'll go through this a little quicker here, and then we'll look at some questions. So IWM daily consolidation and looking to form a daily higher low here off EMA 26 as well. Just looking for those daily higher lows and hasn't changed the daily trend yet, so that is a potential here of a daily higher low. And then we'll look to the all-time highs up at 234.53. If we break that, we're back in a daily uptrend. So QQQ is extremely weak today, closed down over 3%. 3% on the Qs is a pretty big deal. And we have daily support here at a 311.39, which held. So that key support level will be coming into play tomorrow. And then 297.45 Just quite a bit of a ways down, and we could see potential weekly bear flags here. SMH, very weak as well, down over 4% today. So the semiconductors, daily consolidation continues, so a little bit of ways away from its support, down at 227.75. So definitely the two weakest sectors in my opinion. US oil got smoked today, so we've been calling this out for a while now. On the monthly chart, we drew this resistance line all the way back up to all-time highs, never closed a monthly chart above that and held. This month prior, we closed right on it with an upper wick, and here we are forming an upper wick and coming back down within that range and that below that resistance line. So we need to be cautious here. We already saw the bull cross of the monthly EMAs, so we could see potential monthly consolidation. And we've only got about 8 or 9 days left in this month of trading. So things could get interesting. I'd be cautious on the energy sector. Weekly EMA 12 coming into play as well. So that's why I cautioned. That's how quickly things can change. And that's because we had no weekly support. So moving on, taking a look at the daily on silver. So again, we changed the daily trend, but we're pulling back. So we need to be cautious of weekly bear flags. And gold changed its daily trend, but it's still ultimately holding the EMA. So gold a little bit stronger in terms of the daily uptrend there. And I was bullish. We were extremely bullish in our group at 1676 with weekly support at 1670, and here we are back up to 1750. We hit a high of 1755. So nice move there on gold. Biotech sector down almost 5% today, just getting slammed. Again, all names had a lack of support in the daily, and we knew this was coming eventually. And today we saw that follow through. XLE, so down 4.5%. So again, not surprising with the weakness in oil closing near the low of the day, right on EMA 26. We'll see if they can find some support or if we need further consolidation from here, but it's looking like more downside is in the cards from here. So XLF, bit of a red flag, breaking to a new all-time high and breaking out and then ultimately pulling back, closing near the low of the day, increasing bear volume. If we lose the low of the day tomorrow at 34.50, that means we start daily consolidation, and we were in a daily uptrend straight into a higher high. And if we start daily consolidation and further increasing bear volume tomorrow, that's going to be a bit of a red flag. We also have this bearish RSI divergence. So the RSI is trending lower while the price is trending higher. And EMA 12 has been rock solid since all the way back down here at 28 in January. So that's going to be a line in the sand as well, support at 34.10 on EMA 12. So that's where we stand. The financial sector closed 0.5% green though, and it's been holding the market up. We've seen a lot of rotation from the tech sector into the financial sector, and the MJ sector is very correlated to the financial sector, and that could be due to the potential of the Safe Banking Act getting passed. So I'm going to do another video on MJ. And I'll take a few questions here as well if you guys want to ask any questions about MJ. But I'll go over the charting and whatnot in detail of both sectors in the US and Canada in detail in that review video. That will be coming here in just a little bit. So we'll wrap things up. XLV closed pretty flat today. We saw a break of yesterday's high, and we didn't even start daily consolidation. So a little bit of money rotating into the healthcare sector, it looks like. And just looking for its daily high or low and a potential trend change. We break the highs here at 115.72. That confirms a daily uptrend. Weekly high or lows are set. So again, we need to see weakness in healthcare. If you're a bear, if you want the market to go down, or if you're a bull and you're wondering if the market's going to go down or if you should change your game plan, you need to be watching XLV and XLF, because if they start to show weakness tomorrow and increasing bear volume, and if we lose the daily uptrend here and lose 33.94, that's going to be a big red flag. And we know that when all sectors, all these broader markets and ETFs are trending lower, we know that SPY is going to see significant downside. But if they're not, if it's rotating and one sector is going, the energy sector is going, or the financial sector is going, and the tech sector is dropping, or vice versa, we're not going to see significant downside. But if it's all dropping at the same time, we likely will. So Tesla closed near the low of the day, sitting at 655 after hours. I'm getting interested in Tesla for an entry. It's weekly inside bar at this point. So we'll see how we break this weekly inside bar. And I personally would like to get it around the old previous all-time high here at 502. So somewhere between the $400 and $500 range, I do want to add for a long-term no-touch position. But let's just take a look at some other individual names before we answer some questions real quick. JMIA, NKLA, Fiber leading the decline, down double digits for the most part, respectively. AMC, BABA, TAP, NEXE leading the bull list. I added to NEXE today. I wanted to add this name for a while, and I just didn't see the weekly consolidation that I wanted. I missed it here. We pulled back to 268, formed a weekly higher low, and then we shot all the way up to 590. And here we are back down to that weekly support. So I bought a little bit there today. I'll enter in about a couple positions. So I'll add some more if we trend down back here to its original IPO price. And I like this for a long-term hold. They make, it's like a Keurig cup type decomposable, it's good for the environment, and they could be the next Keurig. So I like it as a long-term hold. Again, it's just about $1,000 small YOLO play that I will ride out. So TAP doing well today. Molson Coors up over 1%. Found that interesting. And I'm not sure what's going on here with. Anyways, we'll move on from there. Not sure there we go. So on the day today, though, we hit a high of 50.27. So Molson Coors breaking the $50 mark. Never heard anybody talk about that today. It's a pretty big milestone after being at 43 and then not so long ago down at 34, 32s. So I'm bullish on Molson Coors as well. So we'll move on to some questions. But tech definitely weak today. It's what was dragging the market down. So before we jump into questions, I do want to show SPY's 50-day moving average down at 385.05. So that's another support level to watch as we have a lack of support on the daily. So eye that level at 385. We also have the 10-week moving average at 385.31. So a lot of confluence in that area. We do have the MACD and the stochastic crossing bullish as well, which is notable. And let's just take a look at the weekly. So no support down until 339. So no help there. Take a look at the VWAP as well. Whoops. Let's look at the weekly. Let's look at the SPY weekly chart. All right. Not the weekly chart. Okay. So, not really. So 388 and 385. So no VWAP in sight. On the daily, let's take a look at weekly. So down at 367, which is close to the 100-day moving average as well. So we already lost the 50, V-shaped into a higher high, into all-time highs. You got to be wondering if this is our top here. I mean, we got to 398.12. A lot of people are targeting 400, and a lot of analysts have been targeting 400 for years, maybe even decades. And we lost the 50 straight into a higher high. Could this be a potential blow off top? We need to be, again, not calling the top, or I don't have a crystal ball, but certainly a thought that's always in the back of my mind. And I'm preparing with a hedge, and I'm mostly cash. I'd say I'm sitting above 70% cash now in my stock portfolio. And I'm about 40% cash in crypto, maybe even more than that now. But I also sold and cashed out some of those gains and locked it in. And I took that money and put it into MJ, and it's been paying off heavily. So that's where we stand. Hopefully that gives everybody a little bit of background and strategy going into tomorrow. So we'll look at some questions here. Hexo update. Yeah, so the earnings weren't that bad. We were expecting more for sure. The revenue had a slight beat. EPS missed by about 0.10, so they were expecting negative 0.047 when it came in at negative 0.17. So about a 10% miss there. So again, EPS, we weren't expecting a beat on EPS, but we were expecting positive EBITDA, and they achieved that, and they achieved almost 100% year-over-year growth. So we're seeing a lot of signs pointing in the right directions. They said on the earnings call that they're still in talks with CPG partners, so other consumer packaged good companies and Fortune 500 companies. And they said that they're working with other potential states for rolling out their Veryvel CBD Trust USA brand. So we could see further states come online soon. We know New York is potentially going to be announcing progress next week, and Safe Banking Act potentially progress on that here as well. So that could be another state that Hexo targets. And again, we need to be on the lookout for new potential partnerships as well. And they did say that the Zenabis merger is expected to close somewhere in the fourth quarter. So that's 2 quarters from now. So sometime between now and the end of 2021. So that's good to see. They're still really bullish, upbeat. Their tone on the call was very upbeat and just seemed like they were very happy to be there. And Sebastian St. Louis, the CEO of Hexo, is still one of the last standing CEOs of all the big companies, and they are top 3 producer in Canada. And with the addition of Zenabis, they're going to be even more of a contender. And the beverages weren't the greatest. They're still a little slow, but they're number 1 in Quebec, number 1 in Ontario, number 1 in Alberta. And that's a big deal after Canopy had about a 6-month, 7-month head start. And Canopy also was a company long before Hexo, right? Hexo was like, I think the between the 10th and 20th LP, I think they were like the 15th LP or the 13th LP in Canada, and Canopy, was the first. So it's they have a huge first movers advantage, and Hexo has made great strides. And we saw today that Canopy was raising money as well and diluting. So it's starting to look more and more like Hexo doesn't need any money. They're doing well. They're now positive EBITDA, so they're working on way to positive EPS. It could be another 3 to 6 quarters before positive EPS. So just keep in mind, it could be a year, could be between 6 months and a year before we see positive EBITDA. Maybe even a year and a half. But yeah, overall, I'm bullish. I was expecting, like I said yesterday, careful not to sell too soon. And then sure enough, we had that inverse head and shoulders on Hexo that played out. And we saw some follow through today, got to about 850, exactly 850 on the US side. And then nasty reversal closing at the low of the day back into daily consolidation. So a little bit of a red flag, but we do have the right shoulder here at 660. And we changed the daily trend, but we had a nasty fake out. And again, this is why I said cautious not to sell too fast. And then sure enough, today it dipped to about 802 and then it ramped up to about 850. And I know a lot of people in our group sold on that ramp up, and I said be cautious. And then a lot of people in our group sold, and then we all just started to scale back into weakness. I know Graham in our group asked me if I was going to, I made another attempt whenever SPY was looking for a 5-minute high or low during the day, and I entered Hexo at about, I think it was like 795, and I set my stop under the low of the day, which was 789, so I set it at like 787, very tight stop, and I got stopped out, and it did run to about $8. In hindsight, I should have moved it to break even, but I had a few other things on the go, and I missed it, but I exited for a small loss on that stop loss triggering, and then Graham in our group asked if I was going to take another shot at it when we tested the low of the day, and I said no. SPY still hasn't changed. It's not in a 5-minute uptrend anymore. I'll see if it confirms a 5-minute uptrend, and then that's when the weakness in the market started, and we saw a pretty big waterfall, and SPY lost daily supports and closed near the low of the day, and just a heavy downtrend there on the 5-minute into the end of the day. Did see some volume coming in, but it was mostly bear volume, it looks like, coming into the end of the day. So that's the Hexo update. Longtime holder of Hexo, such a well-positioned company at this point. Feel they made their difficult corrections before others. Set it and forget it. Love the channel. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, my friend Rob. I agree 110%. They were an innovative. If you look at my video from yesterday or from today, you can see that they had 3 strategic initiatives, and one was leadership and innovation, and I forget the other one at the moment, but they're all so true. They're top 3 producer. They have introduced the value segment, and Nova Cannabis now calls themselves Value Buds. So they brought that 28 cheap option to the gram option to the market, and they really just lead the space. And while everybody like Aurora and Canopy were busy trying to get more square footage and buy more companies and be the biggest and the best, Hexo is just creating a lot of IP, intellectual property, and making products that really resonate with the customers, that taste well, that they like, that people trust, brands that they recognize and trust, like Molson Coors, and just developing strategic partnerships. And I think they're very well positioned. Agreed. I think it's going, wait until a few more states add on. Like, this is nothing, right? This is tip of the iceberg. I still know a ton of people in my network that haven't even tried their drinks yet. Just wait until like the bars, we can buy them at the bar in the summertime. You can buy them at events and shows and restaurants, and there's not even any hype around it yet. Wait until it really catches on and we see them at events. I know I barely drink alcohol anymore. I drink primarily the MJ drinks, and I feel so much better. It's got CBD in a lot of them, and it's just a much better, healthy alternative. They've got 30 calories in the Molo, and it's actually a really, really, really good product. So I'm a long-term holder of Hexo as well, and definitely my most comfortable position and confident position. Weekly chart. Has Hexo given any indicators aside from Fortune 100 on which CPG they are looking at? Yeah, they say that they're not going to be entering. It's not a CPG partner in the beverage space. So they did allude to the fact that they have all of the technology and all of the equipment all ready to go. They just need to basically find a partner, and then they will have their intellectual property that they'll use to leverage that, so that and then they'll make that as an agreement, because they don't want another Fortune 500 company to come in and then take their intellectual property or their recipe for success, no pun intended, and then go and beat them at a business, right? So that can't happen. So they have to have patents. They announced on the call today that they are the second in leading the amount of patents that they have. So their IP is very, very strong, and that will protect them for the long haul when they are working with other CPG partners, and that will, kind of give them a little bit of a safety net. And they're going to be under this Powered by Hexo licensing. The sky's the limit. Like, imagine if they signed a deal with Nestle. So we know it's probably not Coca-Cola, it's probably not Pepsi, it's outside of the beverage industry, but it could be cosmetics like topicals or creams, it could be edibles. But he did say on the call today that they have the infrastructure and the technologies already ready to go, and in the edible space, and he used that as an example. So that leads me to believe that this new partner, if they're still working out the details of the deal, it's a long, lengthy process, so it could be a while, but my money is on Nestle. A lot of people in our group are still speculating. There's like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Mars, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. There's so many different ones, but let me know in the comments, what do you think Hexo's CPG potential partner could be? I think it's Nestle, Mars, Pepsi. It's not them though, because they're in the beverage space, but never say never. And they said that, they also said that they are in talks with other companies about merging and being acquired. So they said that there's interest. A lot of people are interested in basically getting bought out by Hexo and joining forces, and we're seeing a lot of M&A activity, mergers and acquisitions. So it's definitely, once one starts to do it, then the other kind of have to follow through, because if you don't change, they kind of get forced into change. And that's what's going on here right now. That's what's kind of happened with and a member, shout out to QC in our group, he said that with Shaw getting bought out by Rogers, we could see potential Bell and TELUS merger, something like that. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. I never even thought of that. So shout out to QC in our group. But great point there. Once one or two companies start to do it, the other companies, if they're not big enough, they kind of have to abide by that and just follow suit, because they'll soon be left in the dust and irrelevant. You're welcome, and hello. What's good entry point to buy Hexo? I've been averaging in. So I started averaging in around 740 today, or 750. And I'm averaging in down to about 650, looking for that inverse head and shoulders. But again, I'm just entering in small amounts, and this is, a long-term hold for me. And I'm just scaling back in after scaling out today and making quite a bit of gains on that run into earnings in my day trade account. So I've got Hexo in 3 different accounts. One long-term no touch, 5 to 10 years. Second long-term, but about 3 to 5 years. And then my day trade and swing trade account for short trades that I have Hexo in, but I just started to scale back into that account today, and I'm going to be swinging it. And that's US, yeah. USD. Out of the 14 states with legalized recreational U.S. sales, they have spoke on a targeted plan of which states they intend to work with in the timelines. No, they wouldn't allude to that fact, unfortunately. Hershey or Mars, yeah. A lot of people in our group like Mars. Yeah, United States currency. So I started averaging in at 750 USD Hexo and scaling back down into about 660, which is the right shoulder of that inverse head and shoulders, and looking for some potential follow through. And it could be a little fake out before the breakout. Again, long-term hold, I'm okay holding it. If we continue to see, I still got about 70% cash, and I'm scaling back in. And we had the OCS numbers come out, and we knew that the numbers weren't that great yet from the beverages and stuff. So we knew that Hexo's potential for crushing was kind of diminished at that point. But I was expecting a better revenue beat and much less smaller loss on the EPS, but it still wasn't terrible. Mars would be a great pick, yeah. You got like M&M's and Skittles. Mars is also like recognized as like one of the leading companies to work for in Europe, like won awards and whatnot. So that'd be pretty cool. And Hexo did just buy a facility from Zenobus and all of their medical networks and clientele and patients that are in Europe. So it would align well with their strategic initiatives. I'm in at about 578. Would Molson be a potential suitor for someone to acquire them given the trust connection? Very nice entry. Assuming you mean USD. Would Molson be a potential suitor for someone to acquire them given the trust connection? Yeah, that's possible, but they always say that they don't want to be acquired. They don't want to be bought out. They want to be the biggest, top 3 cannabis company worldwide, and they want to achieve that through consumer packaged good, through a CPG company, and they want to do it through JVs, so joint ventures with Fortune 500 companies, and they really want to execute on that plan and focus on customer experiences and great products that taste great, that brands that resonate with people and that people know and trust and love, and just, a company that I'm a proud shareholder of. I know that the financials aren't that great yet, but you got to keep in mind that they were kind of hindered, right? They had the Canadian government that's just been absolutely brutal to the industry in this rollout, and then the Ontario government. If you look at the amount of Alberta stores here, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. I think it's in the 400s, close to 500 retail shops, and it's all privatized. And then in Ontario, they only have like a couple hundred, and it's the most populous province and huge. Just doesn't make any sense. So they've been hindered in that regard. It's not necessarily all the licensed producers' fault, like Hexo and Canopy. It's not all their fault. But there obviously was some mistakes that they made, and they learned a lot. And I think Hexo was a visionary there in that regard, where they saw a lot of that coming, where other people were just wanting to be the big and the best. They wanted to be the smartest and the best, right? So it's not all about how hard and big you work. It's about how hard and smart you work. So I like their smarts, and I like the company. And like I said, we also have a lot less people than the States. So yes, the States, I don't really get it. Like, I don't understand how people don't understand that. Like, I understand everybody, on YouTube saying the MSOs are juggernauts and they're just cash kings and all they know how to do is make money. They don't really know how to do anything else. And it's like, yeah, okay, I understand that argument, but you're not really comparing apples to apples. You're comparing an apple to an orange when they have 10 times more population. The land mass is smaller, so you've got a denser population, and yeah, it's a no-brainer. And they, like in Canada, they've got stores everywhere in the States, right? I've gone to the States, and within a couple mile radius, I walk by about 3 of them. But in Canada, we only got a couple hundred in Ontario, which is the size of several states. So it really kind of frustrates me, because I see a bunch of people comment all the time, and I don't get worked up by it, but it definitely does frustrate me a little bit and aggravate me a little bit that people just continue to compare them. They'll never be this United States. Well, we just saw that the Chuck Schumer and the bill that I'll bring it up here because this is important. Schumer marijuana bill will stop big alcohol and tobacco from dominating the market. So if they're going to restrict tobacco companies and alcohol companies, why do you think Canopy went after? Why do you think Constellation Brands went after Canopy? Why do you think Altria went after Cron? It's because they probably knew that this was going to happen, because the world is all run by the same people and it's all a stage. But in my opinion, but again, we won't get political on this channel. But yeah, why do you think the Canadian companies are expanding internationally? Why do you think I know Curaleaf is big on Europe as well, and that's probably because they know that it's kind of restricted. It's going to be kind of restricted in the United States. That's just my personal opinion. But again, there's 2 sides to every story, and I think that the LPs have an advantage in the European markets, but also because of these potential laws that could hinder the ability for big tobacco and big alcohol to get involved in the United States. So there's always ways around it, and other potential partners as well. But again, it's not really the same comparing US MJ to Canadian MJ. And doesn't matter how many market videos I do, it always gets hijacked. It gets hijacked by the MJ topic because it's the hot topic at the moment. And that's why I'm so focused on it, because literally all the questions and topics that we talk about in the broader market video, which is supposed to be about the broader market, ends up being about the MJ sector. So not a bad thing. It's just something to be observant of, right? To pay mind to, and to start to factor that into what trends are starting to come up and what trends are starting to fade. And again, that's the whole point of Pursuit of Wealth, is to catch these trends before they start. Remember in the summertime when I was telling everybody to buy Hexo, and no one even wanted to hear the letters MJ, and just garbage, no interest. And look at Hexo down here at $1.38, and then came up to about $5.16, came all the way down to about $2.40, $2.32. Nobody interested. And then we go from $2.32, and we've gone over 300%, and now everybody's interested. So again, I'm spotting trends before they happen. This trend is just starting to develop, in my opinion. We're just getting over the monthly EMAs for the first time since all-time highs. The fundamentals have improved significantly, and that's what Sebastian St. Louis said on the call today as well, that they believe that their fundamentals relative to their peers, so other top L1 LPs like Canopy and Aurora, that type of thing, APHA and Tilray, they they believe that they are undervalued in terms of fundamentals. They think their fundamentals are great, their cash position is great, and the share price is not yet reflective of that in their opinion. Again, this isn't financial advice. Do your own risk. All investments have risks, and I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I do expect us to go over the EMAs, and this could be the next, huge bull run that we see. Hopefully SPY and the overall broader market doesn't have its legs wiped from underneath of it. And like I said, we want to start to, so we want to move away. We want to start to scale into this, right? We up here at $33 down to $1. That, but the fundamentals have improved. Their financials have improved. They're on their way to positive EPS, and they've already achieved positive EBITDA. What? Right? Interesting. Oh, interested. Really interested. And now you got a lot of people that are just foaming at the mouth wanting to get in. And now we're up still over 300%. So it's kind of risky at this point. We risk potentially coming back down to around the $5 or $6 mark, right? So this is what happens in markets. This is why you want to start building a position early and join a community like Pursuit of Wealth, where that's what our whole group was started for, was about catching up and coming trends before they happen. So we want to start to get interested in things like this, and then we want to get uninterested in things like this with Bitcoin at monthly all-time highs. Yeah, so I started to rotate profits from this, right, into this. Fundamentals improved. Bitcoin has no fundamentals. Not that I'm not a Bitcoin bull, but proof of work doesn't work. Technology's dinosaur. It takes an hour to send when the network's congested. The fees are high. There's some exchanges that have zero fees, but that's not network fees. I'm talking network fees. If you have a wallet, an unmanaged, a self-registered wallet, you're charged network fees, and those get really high. And again, it's an old technology. There's not really any purpose behind it other than a store of value. And the fundamentals haven't improved on Bitcoin. And we're all the way up here, like I said, at 60,000 and above, and nothing has really improved. So what's going to happen on Hexo when we've seen all these, a new potential partner coming out, this huge volume, they're now positive EBITDA, they're on their way to positive EPS, they're top 3 in Canada, they're soon going to have Zenabis and international expansion, and their fundamentals have improved. They're now positive EBITDA and on their way to positive profitability. And here we are, right? So this is why I'm interested and why we started the group Pursuit of Wealth in the first place. MJ, unfortunately, in the USA, media is still taboo. Bible Belt culture, what Hexo is going on for. It has a partnership with American Institution in Molson, which is very true, 100%. Yep, and they know it too, right? I agree. But what gives it true validation is that it's on the NASDAQ. In the American eye, if it's on Wall Street, it's not that bad. Crazy, yeah. Yeah, well, Wall Street also told people not to buy Tesla at $100, and they made no money, and they'll never amount to anything. And here we are at, if we didn't factor in the reverse split, it would have been at close to $5,000. So, and they were buying it all up when they were telling everybody not to buy it. And now they're telling everybody to buy it, share price going to infinity. And meanwhile, they're selling it now. So we're going to end things there. I don't see any further questions. So best of luck going into tomorrow. Again, in summary, we could be seeing weekly support come into play here a lot quicker than most people think. We closed right at daily support after losing 391.20, which was our previous support. So we lost that. We could be heading to EMA 12, we lost EMA 12, could be heading to EMA 26, sitting down at 388.47. We also have the 50-day and 10-week moving average at 385 to be watching after that. and then a lack of resistance down to 371.88. So it's time to be cautious. Previous top here at 385, so I could see us head to 385 tomorrow. We're up a little bit here after hours. See how QQQ is doing. Up a little bit as well, about 0.25%. So we'll end it there. Does it matter which exchange you buy Hexo on, NASDAQ, TSX? No, not really. Doesn't really matter as long as you're not, like if you're going to keep adding money in, you should probably do it in the currency that your native currency, so that you're not paying for exchange fees and stuff like that. I usually use USD because most of my accounts in USD, so I'm not paying fees. I just hold the USD. But then I have another account with Canadian funds in it that I use for only Canadian trades. So it just works for me to keep it segregated and isolate the two. So again, not seeing any further questions, so we're going to end it there. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for daily market recap. Today was a review for March 18th, and stay tuned for another MJ update video. And great discussion that we had here. Really enjoy these live streams. Make sure to smash the like, subscribe to the channel. It shows me some support. And consider checking out pursuitofwealthgroup.com or powgroup.ca. Check us out. We have a 1 week free trial available till the end of the month. And our group is growing fast, and we've got a solid member base so far. Absolutely loving every minute of it. It's been a great journey, and just super grateful for all of the gains and the friendships and the people that have been helped along the way. So super grateful. Appreciate all of you. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you a little bit later on for an MJ sector review.